Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the Cambodia VR Project podcast. This is Tom Nichols speaking to you from YK Art House in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, where I'm over halfway through it's going to end up being about a 5-week stay, my third one in Cambodia in a year, in which I'm working with a prominent arts organization here in the country, Cambodian Living Arts. And in just the broadest terms, what I'm trying to do is help them extend their reach by using certain new media technologies, in particular 360 videos and virtual reality. I've been talking about this kind of stuff to them for about a year now, and making little prototypes, and it seems like the eggs are starting to hatch here. The things are starting to move forward. Cambodian Living Arts has always understood that this is something that they need to do, but they haven't been able to quite prioritize it or know how to get from point A to point B, and I'm not sure if anybody still does. It's going to be a series of baby steps, but they have decided, at least that's my understanding from talking with their CEO, a really extraordinary guy named Plun Prim, they're ready to move. They know they have to do it, and now's the time. They got me there to help them. There's other things going on that will have something to do with the time frames as well. There you are. I have about 12 more days left on this stay, and half of them I'll be out of Phnom Penh, actually doing just being a tourist at Siem Reap, going back to Angkor Wat with a guide, and then I also believe that I'm going to spend a day or so in Laos. That's what I'm going to do. So the point is that I didn't have anything to do today. Nothing. This was like the first day like that in a long time. I didn't go out on the bus. I don't have any meetings with anybody. Didn't have any meetings. It felt great, and I'm feeling pretty good. I got a lot of energy, and so I rested up some. I took a little nap this afternoon, but mostly I just tried to start letting, not end game, but how I'm going to wrap up this particular visit, trying to sort things out. And it's really about people and how I want to leave things with certain people. Who am I going to be able to help training wise, financially, how much, in what ways, exactly when. A lot to figure out, and I don't have it figured out. Plus, there's a few more people who I've met here on this trip that just intrigued me, that I want to do more of those 360 interviews. I did a lot of them. I did, I think 10 or 11 when I was here last time. I have interviewed people using my 360 camera, but I haven't really done what I was calling a 360 cast last time during this visit. And there's a couple of people that both happen to be young women. One who I know through the history reading group. She intrigues me because she's incredibly smart. She's in some sort of a technology company from what I've been able to understand, but her training and education seems to be more like in humanities and even law, so I don't quite get that. But anyway, she just is a really engaging person, and I'd love to do one of my little interviews with her. So that was one of the things that got scheduled today. That was one of the easy ones that has nothing to do with the project, although in a way it does. I think in the back of my mind that this whole set of 360 casts, that is interviews with people in a 360 interview format here in Cambodia, there's a kind of a range of people that I've talked to. They all are pretty, most of them anyway, are pretty compelling and interesting stories, particularly the ones who are Cambodians, not expats. And I have some pretty interesting expats, but also some very interesting Cambodians. Those are the ones I think I'd like to be able to, even, as I figured out how to do this, put in some sort of a gallery in VR. People in Cambodia, come meet them in a 360 interview. That's one of my ideas. So in that sense, any of the interviews that I schedule could have that sort of use. And so that was scheduled today, but the more important ones are the people who I either want to kind of brainstorm with and help me figure out what to do. That primarily at this point is Van Rith, the guy at kind of middle-level manager guy at CLA, who I've been real close to, is primarily associated with the education project, but he's just a good thinker, and so I reached out to him and looked for a evening or time in the remaining days I have here where we could get together and just do some brainstorming, and he got right back, and that got settled too. I saw Descartes today and started to copy some video files, and a further meeting was set up with him. It's actually going to be tomorrow, where I'll finish copying the video, but more importantly, do another round of familiarizing him with the 360 video, training in just the how you do it. And I had this idea of taking my sort of flaky camera so he can see if he can figure out how to get it going when things don't work quite the way they're supposed to. Sometimes, at first, I just can't get the camera and phone to link up, to connect. But eventually I always do, and I think I know how to troubleshoot it even. We'll see what he can do on that. But also beyond just the how do you do it, I want to share just I think the two key things that I've learned in terms of using the darn thing, which is number one, closeness. Hey, I don't care what anybody says, 10, 12 feet, no. I think it's great to have the 360 camera a foot or two, 3, 4 feet at the most away. It really wants to feel that it's in an enclosed space with people and structure and things around it, and the camera can just nicely capture that space and everything that's in it. Of course, if the boundaries of that space are made up of people, especially young people, a circle of young children like we had on the Come Here Magic Music Bus, that is just about perfect, being in the middle of a circle of kids being entertained. But there's one thing not perfect about what I've learned with the bus, and it's the second thing about these cameras. They really want light. They love light, and they just aren't as sharp as you want it to be if it doesn't have a lot of light. Well, gee, wouldn't you just know it? These people here in Cambodia want to be in the shade all the time. I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to be in their 97-degree penetrating sun, but a lot, I'm kidding around, but it's also true. A lot of things that you'd want to take pictures of or make video of or things like that in Cambodia don't have the light that you'd like because people are sitting in the shade. It's the most basic and obvious thing about Cambodia, but I finally grasped what a difference it makes when that's true. It's hard to get the kind of light really on people's faces that I'd like and whatnot. And when I have done it, for instance, the first time we went out on the bus, it was pretty sunny, and the kids were right around the camera again, and boy, it knocks you out. Their faces are just so right there and clear. Now, there's another side to that too. Being in the light means the sun is on the camera. And there's this whole thing about these things running hot, which they do. And then you put them right in the direct sun. Holy smokes. So the optimal situation in Cambodia, closeness, proximity of people, light, also creates a situation in which the camera really shouldn't operate for much more than, I don't think, 2 or 3 minutes of continuous recording. And then you got to turn it off and let it cool off just a little bit. And I don't have this quite figured out, but there's something about, well, for instance, when we were surrounded by a whole bunch of kids, it's not that easy to get in there and rescue the camera just when you'd want to do it either. So, because there's a certain, you got to be discreet about the performance, and you got to, when it's between songs and things like that, yeah, then you can go in and do it. But so, it can be very tricky getting your presence right on it. But anyway, those two key factors, light and proximity, I'll try to get some more of that across to Dakar also. So that was something else that was set up today. Let me see, what else I can remember here. The real tricky ones, it was pretty much the schedule. I should say I finalized my get out of town schedule, the time I'm going to spend at Siem Reap, and the time I'm going to spend just kind of gallivanting for a day in Laos. I finalized those arrangements on Travelocity and TripAdvisor and stuff like that. So where I'm left now is that a lot has been set in motion. Cambodian Living Arts as an organization is in a different place now than they were a few months ago. People have been brought together, connections have been made, more connections are fertile and ready to be made. There are events that are going to be taking place in Phnom Penh external to Cambodian Living Arts, things I know through Eric, VR installations that are going to emerge that want local contact, that if CLA is prepared at that point to do it, they should be ready to move and become right there at the ground floor. All those things are happening, and so, where do I best leave it to keep things moving along, to be able to take advantage of situations as they emerge, with me not physically there? It has to do with Svai. Still don't quite get that. I'm going to go Svai. But, and I think he's a good choice. He's the older gentleman who I met last time I was here, who I've worked with several times. I mean, I've really been able to, I think, take the measure of the guy, and he can take the measure of me. We've really talked heart to heart. But there's cultural differences, and I suppose barriers there to some extent too. I don't really know, what's going to happen when I go away. But he needs a little bit better hardware setup. If he does, if he can do the whole 9 yards, produce a little, record a little thing, then produce it in an editing setup, and then, put it on YouTube, put it in Vimeo, let people see it in headset, whatever you're going to do, that would be hugely valuable for me to have someone here that can do that. But, the best case to set him up, the way it really should be done, would be about $1,000. And that'll be $700. Desktop computer, good external hard drive, other gewgaws, I don't know, maybe 500 or 600. Khmer Magic Music Bus, and Deka, who's the main user of it, could also use a new desktop computer and some external storage. But I think that Deka and the team up there where they got the studio, where a lot of the music stuff is done, I think they're less likely actually to do the things that I'm hoping will move the overall organization forward. That's the work they do there is really focused on sound, not that much video. I don't think he's quite as savvy as Svai. So maybe the hardware I would help out there would be a Juganda external hard drive, that kind of a thing, which it doesn't cost very much. You could readily use it and concentrate on more of a setup for Svai. And then there's Sam Nang. Sam Nang is this uber talented chapai player who can play the instrument nicely, but also has the gift of the free association rapping that goes with it. He knows how to work a crowd. He has star power, and I want to help him. I think he's shown an amazing ability to come from nowhere to get an education, to learn how to play instruments, to learn a lot about how the world is on his own, but with a little bit of help here and there. Scholarships from CLA, people that gave him work, a floor to sleep on. Well, I want to join that tradition of people who are helping him out. I haven't quite figured out the way to do it, but also where that all fits in is that he's one of the coolest things I want to get on 360 video, again, to be part of this content acquisition thing that should be happening while I'm gone. Sam Nang, just by himself, wherever we can get him really performing. Anything on the bus, saying Sam Nang on the bus, but other things about the bus too. I think those are our best things we should be focusing on. But maybe the dance and other things that CLA do as well, helping their video company, Channel On Media, move forward is also part of the picture. And I think those are the main things I guess I wanted to say. I don't know what role Bunrith is going to play in all that. I want to find him a role too, and I had thought that he'd be the great interviewer and host of something like a regularly scheduled podcast variety show about arts and culture in general in Cambodia. But that's not my focus now. My focus is now the bus. And I don't think that he's the guy to be the voice, the presence, whatnot for the bus. But maybe for some of the CLA content that gets developed, I don't know. I got more to think about that. I'm just talking out loud now, but I hope this has given some sense of the threads I'm trying to tie up. There was some of those little pieces got tied up today, or some of the meetings that are going to happen to get close to it. So I think I used the nothing happening day well. I'm still feeling great. Tomorrow I have a pretty well scheduled right down between, as I mentioned, working some more with Deka, but going out to the Cambodian Children's Fund. Holy smokes, I can't believe I'm going to get to do that. So that'll be Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. We're in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. This is Tom Nickel signing off, episode 21. Bye for now.